cover version of what was it, Rock and Roll Number 2? Is that what it's called?
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, Gary Glitter.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. It's playing in the background, so we're gonna get copyright struck. So what's up, everybody? This is Sports Goose number 143. I'm Francisco, joined by my good buddies Andrew and Charles here. Andrew, how's your day going?
Not too bad. Big game on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Charles, how about you?
I'm alive.
Yeah, that's what we all strive to be. It's hard on some days. Today was hard for me. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the weather outside. It's very gloomy out here.
Really?
Maybe.
I just want to know why. I have to start. I got to go join Catholicism and do absolution because I would not survive hell if it is actually as hot as they say it is. Because your boy be sweating. Your boys be sweating so much, I feel like a Gatorade commercial. I feel like Brock Lesnar just hyping up a match with all the sweat coming in. It is just ridiculous. I hate Florida, but yet I can't move anywhere else because I'm too lazy to go take the bar exam elsewhere.
Yeah, that's kind of my feeling too. I don't want to take the bar anywhere ever again. This is today we got a Stanley Cup playoff sweep, which is that would be interesting to talk about.
And it won't be us.
And then we got the NBA Finals. That's happening. And then we got baseball. There's a few things, some personnel changes in baseball that we'll talk about. And of course, we'll go on to the AFC Handsomest coaches. And Charles will crown the handsomest coach in the NFL, who will move on to the Final Four.
Yeah, which I'll tell you now, sneak preview-wise, AFC is going to be, I think, easier to pick.
Yeah, the NFC was full of hotties. That was all mid-30s guys that make me question my life choices.
Yeah, and I sent you, I'd never heard Sean McVay really speak before, and if I did, it's been years ago, so I sent you a clip in the chat, and he's going to be Sean McHottie over here, because, that gruff, I smoke like 6 marbles a day voice.
And then, of course, we got the cage at the end of the show, and at any point in time, we could be taken into the Andrewverse. So, all right, well, let's talk about baseball. I got baseball in the brain because something just went down today. A new personnel change, guys. Joe Maddon has been fired by the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, California, North America. So,
Joe, you Madden?
Yeah.
That hurt.
So, Joe Maddon. Let's take a look. It was inevitable.
And I don't get me wrong. I love me some Joe Maddon. He took us.
Yep.
He took us to the
Brought
08 World
legitimacy
Series.
to your franchise in Tampa.
He started the, albeit brief, trend of everyone wearing thick glasses and hats with like that spiky Guy Fieri type hair. The man was a treasure.
Unlike Guy Fieri, he's out of a job. So I mean, Joe Maddon is done. He won a World Series with Chicago. We all know this with the Cubs and seemed like one of the premier managers in baseball. But ever since that World Series championship, things haven't been going so good for old Joe. And he heads on over to Disneyland and much like a lot of things, it's things just kind of fall apart out in Anaheim for whatever reason. And this season, the Angels started off pretty hot. They were first place going into the first month of the season. And MLB on Fox and all these other ESPN and all these other places were like, oh, the top teams in baseball are New York and Los Angeles. Look out. Even though Anaheim's not Los Angeles. But lo and behold, the Angels found a way to disappoint everybody. And they ended, they ended May and they started with June, and in the midst of a 12-game losing streak, and they were in first place for quite a while. Then those dreaded Houston Astros caught up to them, and then the Angels just kept falling apart. Mike Trout's in a slump right now. Where he goes, the Angels go, I would assume. And yeah, the Angels are 2 games under 500. That's how awful this losing streak was. They're 2 games under 500. They were 10 games over when this started. And now they're sitting 8.5 games behind the Houston Astros in the American League West. So he couldn't find a way to make it happen in Anaheim, but Anaheim's problems are, well, the same as they've always been. It's
what I want to know is, how does Joe Maddon get the axe, but ownership, the GM, everything in between doesn't get the blame? Because I think we talked about in predictions the last couple of years, it's just really just been the Mike Trout show. Anthony Rendon doesn't do anything, and I'm not a Shohei Ohtani guy. I said last year, I say it this year. I mean, like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but is he a superstar, or is he next fresh thing that we like? Because if he was a superstar in a 2-man group, he would be somewhere. And mind you, last year Trout was injured the whole time, and you do have to do accountability to a degree. But name me a pitcher on that team. I think they have one of the former Mets. Syndergaard. Yeah, I was going to say Thor, but it's not there. And you live by the pitching, you die by the pitching. Houston categorically was always going to kind of catch up. I don't think anybody questioned that, right? I think this losing 12 games is bad, but it's not even as if you're in a position to provide alternatives to players who are slumping. You can't bench Mike Trout, and Mike Trout's not a Joe Maddon problem. It's a Mike Trout problem. And Shohei Ohtani not being stellar in pitching is not because we whooped that ass. When we had him pitching against us, that's not a Joe Maddon problem. That's a Shohei Ohtani problem. Is Anthony Rendon even still in the league? Is he still in Cancun?
He's
I know he's still in the league, but it's
Anaheim.
It's like that's how forgetful it is in that situation. And I think it's because I like Joe Maddon, and if Aaron Boone gets the axe this year, if we do not hire Joe Maddon, I'm going to be a very sad, sulky boy. I already forgot who I was pushing for that got fired last year. That was like, get this guy, because Joe Maddon makes me forget things. Joe Maddon's not going to count as a babe for managers because technically he was fired on the day that we're doing the show, but he gets an honorable mention. He's like the Pete Carroll of MLB coaches.
Yeah.
I remember what I wanted. I wanted the guy who managed the White Sox that year where they were actually good, as opposed to Tony La Russa. Rick Renteria, thank you.
Yeah.
That's still on the back burner because I don't know if Aaron Boone survives the season. We'll see. But Joe Maddon, I mean, he's going to get picked up if he wants to get picked up. He's 68. I don't know how much longer he wants to go. I think he would want to go. Would you want to go small market, or would you want to just go to another big league team? Because if a certain Dodger coach is fired for making predictions, then Joe Maddon can actually be an LA guy. I'm saying it right now. You fire Dave Roberts, you hire Joe Maddon. It might even be a better option.
I think Joe Maddon, and maybe it's maybe someplace with less pressure. And maybe
he won in Chicago though, so
I know
all the pressure in the world.
I know he won in Chicago.
Well, hold on there, mister.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Oh, we have a contrarian here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hold on there. They didn't win in like 116 years or something?
Yeah.
We're talking fan bases though. I mean, like the Yankees haven't won in 12 years, and we're still one of the most like pain in the ass fan bases that need a personality.
I mean, handle it. Yes, but what was it? The closest they had been prior to that year was 03.
Yeah, closest. Yeah, they were to the World Series, just to the World Series, not even win the thing. But just
right.
to
they
the
still,
World Series.
In that interim, have spent so much money. Carlos Zambrano, that's all I got to say.
Well, Carlos Zambrano wasn't on that team.
No, I'm not
2016.
talking about 2003. I'm talking about like pressure points. If you're talking about not coming close, but I think Wrigley and Chicago is definitely a very high market, big pressure, anything, fan base, media, what have you.
Probably nowadays, I'm sure they
I
weren't.
think it is. I think it is now. Like, let me. I'm going to use UCF as an analogy for
Oh
instance.
my god.
It's what I know. It's what I know.
No, I know it's what you know, but you know how you sent me that thing about logical fallacies, and I'm taking that cigarette drag, roping in UCF to Chicago Cubs
Okay,
is a
fine.
big
You want me to
stretch.
use the Tampa Bay Rays?
Who? The Montreal Rays?
Oh, no.
Just give me
No,
what
we'll
you
get-
got.
we'll get-
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Just give me what you got for a pork chop.
Use okay. So example.
So when the Lightning were an expansion team and they were doing fuck all, there wasn't a lot of expectation for the head coach. But once, and hell, even going in through 2008, 2009, 2010, that's the years that we picked up Hedman, Stamkos. Like, the head coach at that point, we weren't really pressuring him a lot. The pressure really kind of started to build once we made to the Eastern Conference Final in 2011. But then we kind of fell off briefly after that, so there weren't a lot of expectations. Then we had a brief blip in 2015 where we made it to the final. Then we kind of fell relatively-ish back down again. But now that John Cooper's won 2 Stanley Cups, the pressure is being ratcheted up. I can't tell you how many doomers and gloomers this regular season, when we went on a this year was bad. And I'm using major sarcastic air quotes there, that, we didn't come second in our conference. In our division, we were third in our division. We're going to go the whole playoffs without home ice advantage. Oh my God, how terrible. There were people calling for his job. Prior to that, they were only really calling for the head coach's job once they were going on these really long losing streaks, like Guy Boucher, Rick Tocchet, John Tortorella, even though he did win a Stanley Cup in 2004, but eventually people got fed up. I don't really see that happening a lot with the Cubs.
So I think you're taking into winning and the pressures of winning to the environment versus the overall everything, the legacy, the established, because even though they hadn't won for 116 years, no offense to your Tampa Bay Rays, a team that hasn't won for 116 years were probably more important than when you guys won in 2008? That's the market. That's the media. That's the presence. That's the big agent signings. They've also had big name managers that they kind of gone for. Aside from Maddon, they were going for Sweet Lou. You had players in there, this whole construct. And when we talk about projects, we talk about how people love baseball in Chicago.
I would say the Cubs became one of those teams where it's like they're trying to actually get, like, once 2000, like after like the turn of the millennium, and they're realizing like, okay, we better start actually trying to win this thing. Like the Red Sox are trying, and then the Red Sox win it, and then after that, like, everybody's eyes all jolted to the Cubs, and then it was like, who's gonna try? And like, it was Dusty Baker. Then you said Lou Piniella, and then Rick Renteria was there when the Cubs were when they were tanking and they were developing those guys like Chris Bryant and all those guys, and then they went for the big splash with Joe Maddon as the manager. John Lester signed and all, and then like that's when the Cubs finally became a team that was had expectations, just like when you go out and play Splitgate and you're the best player on your squad and you have expectations to perform. And so the same thing for Joe Maddon. I'm sure he's got plenty of time to play Splitgate right now.
And he has a body of work that it's not as if, and we talked about it in the past seasons where baseball could be that sport where you're under 500 as a manager and it's all for not, right? Like Tom Mattingly could still get a managing job. It'd be perfectly fine once he eventually does get fired at the end of the season. But pressure points, I guess, to bring it back to my original point itself, is that Maddon will find work quickly. He might want to do small market, but I don't know how long he wants to wait, not have guys go at his age, because he was in Tampa for how long? 9 years? Something around that?
Something around that.
Yeah, he was there for a while.
He went straight from Tampa to Chicago.
I think the issue with Chicago is he didn't want to do the rebuild.
Yeah.
Because they were like, hey, we have an ass load of money.
They won, then they had like 2 or 3 more years of actual contention, and then like they're like, oh, we're blowing it up.
Yeah, well, they just don't want to pay cash, and
that's the problem with that's also, you know, that's probably like an argument against like the Cubs situation, is that the owners still are pretty cheap when like they're not spending like the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Dodgers, even though they could. They definitely could. They have the brand and the team to the ballpark and all that stuff to do all that stuff.
They also have the media rights, I think, with the Yankees equivalent. Yes, I forgot what it's called.
Pretty good. Yeah, I think they even have like their own channel and stuff like that. And then, but they're probably money. Yeah, and they're probably going to be like, oh well, we spent all the money renovating Wrigley Field, and that's probably their excuse right now, more than anything. Oh, the team's not going to win. We'll spend a ton of money on Wrigley Field. But I mean, as far as Joe Maddon, I think he's going to find a job. But I don't know if he wants. Maybe he goes back to basics and goes someplace that will develop that he can develop a team into winning, or maybe a team that's like long time hasn't had like any sort of like turnaround in the stuff. I mean,
Philly.
Well, that's what I was gonna go to, because Philly's vacancy is open.
And he's much more of a player's coach manager.
Joe Girardi.
I guess you could have that versus Joe.
Joe Girardi is also fired. That's something that I was gonna mention there. So, you know what? While we're here, Joe Girardi got fired. So that's by the Phillies. He never had a winning record with them at any point, and then the Phillies got off to a 4-game winning streak afterwards. So that's I
just want to mention something ironic really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Coincidental, I should say. So I'm playing Road to the Show right now in MLB 21. My player is in the majors playing for the Phillies, and this current series we're playing is in Chicago at Wrigley Field.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were going to mention a different bit of irony, which was that the Phillies fired Joe Girardi, then went off to a hot tear, and with winning 4 games in a row. And guess what? 3 of those victories, who they were against? The Angels. So the Phillies firing Joe Girardi somehow created the butterfly effect of firing Joe Maddon.
They're like, you lost to this man, this team that doesn't have a guy, king about a castle, you're out.
Yeah, so that's what happened to the Phillies and the Angels there. But I do, because this brings up another question. Charles, we have to just interim look at hotties. Rob Thompson.
All right, let me.
Rob Thompson, the new manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. We talked about this in the group chat, but handsome scale.
Oh, yeah.
He was on Joe Girardi's staff back with the Yankees. Like he got a ring in 2009. Yeah,
I recall him. He looks like a stand-in for Raging Bull when Robert De Niro was acting.
So, all right. So that's what happened to him. And I just want to know who is replacing Joe Maddon.
Phil Nevin.
Phil Nevin? Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So Phil Nevin. Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a bit. Phil Nevin is now the manager of the Angels. So let's see, where is he?
There literally looks like no distinguished difference between Phil Nevin and the other guy.
Filmed out another Yankees guy, of course. He was their third base coach. So, there he is. No, I think there's I think Phil Nevin looks a little better.
Put a little dark hair in there. Same guy.
Okay, well, all right. Former Yankees coaches, of course. So, nothing doing for Charles, unfortunately. All right.
Yeah, I mean the only one
nobody's usurping Gabe Kapler for the Major League Baseball rep in the Handsomest competition right here.
Yeah. Gabe Kapler lives on.
All right. Well, yeah, and so Joe Girardi's gone. Is Joe Girardi, and this I posed this question before, and now I got to pose this again. Is Joe Girardi the Doc Rivers of MLB?
I mean, Joe never got back into it.
They both won their lone championships around the same time with a group of players that are, Hall of Famers and legendary, and then kind of been riding on the coattails of that ever since. Could you say that's what happened to both of them?
I don't know. I mean, this is gonna sound terrible, but he feels like, if anything, the Frank Vogel, where there's a body of work that's quality, but it seems like he never gets the full chance, and it's kind of left for a wayside on players, right? Because what he did in Orlando wasn't much. He wins this title with a studded, healthy bubble championship Lakers. He has some quality in Indiana, but he needs certain guys. So it reminds me of the Marlins when he was there. He's my Frank Vogel, man. He's not my he's not my Doc Rivers. Because no one said Joe Girardi was like, they're going to win it all. Sorry, Joe, but no one said that to a degree.
That's true.
At all.
The Phillies the Phillies signed some guys. They spent some money, obviously, but they haven't. I think some teams, people have predicted them to win the division at least, but nobody's saying that they're going to go out and beat the Dodgers or in the National League or something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, those are the changes in the baseball managers. That's what's going down. There's baseball is happening. Things are going on. I mean, right now, if we just want to go through the standings, the Mets are still first place in the NL East. They're still doing good. They're 9 games ahead of Atlanta. The Braves have recently gotten hot. Same thing with the Phillies. The Marlins have fallen apart, guys, and things are bad. They had a team meeting today, and they to air some grievances, and maybe they're responding because they're winning 5-0 right now. But they're playing the Washington Nationals, who are really the only team that's worse than them.
Terrible.
Yeah, the Nationals are tanking, so it's not really that big of a deal for the Marlins to be beating them. Central Division, the Brewers are still ahead, but the Cardinals have been doing really well as of late. 7 of the last 10 games they've won, and they're half game behind them, and then the rest is the Pirates and the Cubs and the Reds. The Reds didn't have the worst month of May. The Marlins actually had the worst month. Even with the Angels' massive losing streak, the Marlins still had a worse month in May. And the Reds have I guess evened out a bit. They're still an awful team. They're still but they're no longer the worst team in baseball. It looked like they were gonna get to historic levels after April, but they're gonna lose 100 games, but they're not gonna lose 120 games. You see, so there's not big of a difference there. And Dodgers are in first place in the West. The Fraud Rays are 2.5 games behind, and then the Giants are kind of hanging back 5.5 games, and then the Diamondbacks, and then the one of the most fraudulent teams of April, the Colorado Rockies, are in last place now. So they've fallen back down to earth there. Then you got your American League East, the Yankees, hot streak right now, 6-game winning streak.
Hot streak? Streak? What's past marathon? Because marathons are long and they feel like they're never ending. Sign me up, because we're gonna fold in July.
Okay. They're 7 games ahead of the Blue Jays. The Rays are behind as well. But both those teams have winning records. The Red Sox have they've won 5 games in a row. They're now back 1 game above 500.
Must have found a new way to cheat.
And then the Orioles are the Orioles. It doesn't matter how large and far away their left field wall is. They're still last place.
But they're a funner team, or a more fun team.
Yeah, they're getting there. They're still in this rebuild. There's a lot of teams that are in this perpetual rebuilds. The Orioles, the Marlins, the Royals. The Twins are in first place in the Central, which I still maintain is still a toss-up. I don't care what, because the Indians are only 4 games back. Or gosh, the Guardians. Sheesh. The Guardians. They're 4 games back. And then the White Sox are 5 games back, so it's not that big of a difference. It's still anybody's division.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Well, first question, I guess. So 2 pro North American teams have changed their names. The 21-22.
This year, actually, yeah. Yeah, this year.
So you've got the Cleveland going to the Guardians, and you've got Washington going to the Commanders, or as a lot of people are starting to call them, the Commies, which I think is fantastic. So my question to you is, this is kind of an aside, but which is the better name change?
Guardians. No, I don't hate Commanders. I think everybody blew up because they got on that whole, can I say this, right wing wokeness where they think PC is the death of us all, even though this nation is kind of known for slaughtering Native Americans. Just saying, when they were Redskins. But I like Guardians just because it sounds fine. But the problem is it sounds more like it reminds me of like the Atlanta Thrashers, so it sounds more appropriate for hockey or Arena Football League. But I like it more than Commanders.
I will say I like Guardians because it's very uncommon name. Commander's not bad either, but I think Commanders have a better brand logo set than Cleveland, because Cleveland's their logo is awful. I hate everything about their rebrand with like the logos. Like there's so many better examples of what they could do with the Guardians name. I know I personally wanted the Spiders, but
we don't like spiders though in real life, so.
But I mean, Spider-Man's popular right now.
University of Richmond is the Spiders.
Yeah,
I don't care about the University of Richmond.
Yeah,
I don't like spiders. I don't like Spider-Man. He's not even really a spider. I remember being 6 years old, seeing him become like Spider.
They could have went on that gravy train with the whole, trying to like a connection to Spider-Man, like Toronto did with the Raptors, and it was all Jurassic Park, But I think the Commanders have a better logo set. I think it's cleaner. I think it works for them. The W and all that stuff.
Logos, yes, but I'm not talking logos. I'm talking.
I know, but I when I see the Guardians, I see their logo in my head, and it's a very amateurish looking logo.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna tell you that
their logo set's a piece of trash.
I don't know anybody who thought. I don't know. They rushed it. Whatever it was, they rushed it. They probably were trying to get something out the door for this season so they could start selling merch and all that stuff. And they couldn't wait to... They didn't want another year of Indians. And they didn't want to do like a year or maybe even 2 years more going like the Washington route of just being like the Cleveland baseball team or something.
Right.
Or just Cleveland.
I will say this, though. I wish it was a little less hard edges and blocky, but I do like that they retained the script logo on their movies, because growing up, and again, this is when I'm like 5, 6, 7, and I don't really grasp the concept of racism like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I always thought the Chief Wahoo looked kind of cute, but again, 5, 6, 7 years old, I just saw it as a cool looking logo.
And you're thinking about those teams too, like the late 90s Cleveland teams.
Right. Kenny Lofton, stuff like that.
That's cool.
And I always loved that script logo on their jerseys, their primary.
Oh yeah, no, their last set. I mean, as their final set of the Indians. Well, not the final one, but like the '90s era when they moved to Jacobs or whatever.
That was so clean,
like
so clean.
Yeah, those were like that was a very if you like that '97 World Series was a very '90s World Series. But they look good. Both teams look good.
I'm glad that they brought back that script-ish logo. I just wish they would have kind of made the lines a little bit softer, and it's more loopy, more script-ish, like the original Indians logo, as opposed to one where they're trying to go with that kind of hard-edged look to match with their really crappy main logo.
Yeah. I don't know. I still. Let's look at it now. We looked at it before, but we'll look at it again. Just we're at the half-hour mark here, 31 minutes. So we got time to look at this stuff. Oh yeah, the
Baseball's
Angels
been ignored for a
and
bit,
we haven't.
You know.
We haven't looked at like logos and uniforms and stuff in a bit, but we got that. We got the Angels City Connect uniforms, which were debuted recently, which is great. 12-game losing streak, always a great way to sell jerseys to people. But let's what do you guys think of the Angels City Connect uniforms? There
Looks
it is.
Fine. I don't hate
They're
it.
not bad.
Yeah, they're fine. I mean, I don't get the connection. I don't. But
honestly, these City Connect logos have very little connection to their cities.
Some of them are very lazy or don't reference
like
it.
Like for instance, the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
That thing's a piece of shit, man.
Really, I love the White Sox one. I love the White Sox. That's South Side.
It's blue and it says South Side. That's it.
No, it's black.
Okay, it's black and says South Side. That's it.
Yeah, South Side and like the like
there's no imagination.
Gangster looking like script.
I compare all of these to the Sugar Kings.
That's fine. I love the Marlins. I think we still have the best one, but I love the White Sox Southside ones. I mean, they're way better than the frickin' Cubs Wrigleyville ones. Those are the worst. Or the Dodgers, which is just basically Los Dodgers. That's all it is. Los Dodgers.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one.
You might be thinking about the Cubs. The Cubs have a terrible one. Theirs is just Wrigleyville. Like the White Sox is clean. South Side, black and white, in like that.
Oh wait.
And that like Cholo.
Can we say Cholo?
I think I can say. Isn't it Cholo's not a? I keep saying it, but I don't know whether that's a thing.
It's not.
Like Cholo,
I mean,
like Latino people
I don't want.
aren't.
I don't want to. Well, but the thing is, Cholo's not even like we. Can't we even
it's not even the right region, I think. I don't know. Is it the right region? I think
I am
a lot of people
out
in
of
Mexican
this conversation.
We need our guy who does our TikTok food stuff to kind of get in on this. I mean,
I don't know.
And Francisco, you were correct. It is actually the Wrigleyville one I was thinking of.
Yeah, I was about to say the White Sox are clean. Those things are good. And then the Angels have theirs, and that's like a patch that represents like the airline or the train line, and then like the beach and the surfboard and all that stuff. All right, fine. But they're in Anaheim. I don't think Anaheim's even near a beach. I mean, near like it's. I mean, it's near a beach, yes, but I don't know. Really, the only thing Anaheim people think of is Disney, so it's very hard. But yeah, there's all the City Connect uniforms so far. You got the Boston Marathon ones, which I get the sentiment behind it, but I don't like the Marlins. But people criticize the Marlins one, like down some Marlins fans, because it has nothing to do with Miami. It's really the Sugar Kings, Cuba, Havana, all that stuff. But
Cuba, man.
I get it.
Miami is Cuba North.
Yeah, but it's I like it. I love it. I think it's great. South Side looking good with the black with the white pinstripes. You don't see that much in in a lot of I don't know, a lot of baseball teams actually. There's very few teams that do that. Look, you got the Wrigleyville, which is awful. It's terrible. Look at Anthony Rizzo, just sad there. You know, now he's doing some Rizzo jizzles in New York, so he's happy now. Yeah. I love the Diamondbacks one, the Serpientes. Like that I the script being made out of a snake and all that stuff. Like I think that was fantastic. Some people don't. I love that one. The Giants is awful. Giants have a bad one. The Giants have a terrible one. The Dodgers is also lazy. Los Dodgers, really? Really? It took you this long just to make a blue jersey that says Los Dodgers on it in Los Angeles? And then Los Dodgers as a hat. We didn't talk about the Nationals with the gray with the cherry blossoms on it.
That's fine.
I got beef with that because it's not for people who don't know. The Washington Nationals are not the state of Washington in Seattle or anything of that nature. It's Washington D.C. So I feel like you could have taken the opportunity to do like anything associated with, like you have a picture like the Smithsonian for all you know, or Washington Monument, and then you're just going that. You missed a cool opportunity. Because you have landmarks near your city. You know what? You know the Bronx has like a hobo inject himself with heroin. We don't get those cool things.
The Astros with Space City on theirs, looking very.
I just want to make a general note that I am, for baseball at least, I'm not a huge fan of color on color jerseys and pants.
Really? I mean,
I'm not a huge fan of it.
I like it. Have you seen like those uniforms in the 70s? Those are awesome.
They make, especially the guys that wear long pants, make me think of pajamas.
For someone who doesn't do or understand interior design, when you say color on color, you're assuming the same color coordination, monochromatic, or you say
monochromatic? Thank you.
Like the NFL's color rush uniforms,
right? But the thing is,
sometimes like monochromatic. That's just me.
But see, the thing though is, for some reason, it works in football, and for some reason, well.
Are you sure? There's some college baseball teams that make that thing work, right? And minor league teams too.
Some. And by the way, when I'm saying color on color, I'm not talking about white on white or cream on cream. That's exempt. I don't really consider white a color in that regard. Although white pants in hockey do not belong. The Los Angeles Kings tried it a couple of seasons ago for their stadium series. It just did not look right.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I feel like baseball could do more with like full. They just have to. They can't be like the stuff from like the 70s. If you look at some of those look pretty awesome. Even the powder blue stuff, all powder blue. Like I don't know. I like it. But yeah, the Astros. It's not bad. It's not a bad one.
And I kind of, while we're on the topic of baseball, I think I might have an Andrew-versary.
Where are we going? Do you have it now, or are you going to formulate it? Yeah, we're ready?
I've got it.
All right, let's go.
So, what made me think about this, and don't ask me how or why this popped into my head, but when you were talking briefly about the Nationals tanking, I was wondering what kind of a player would they need if they got the number one pick. And I mistakenly thought that they would get the number one pick in this draft, but no, that's actually the Orioles. It's weird. This is the only league that does their draft in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
So I get confused sometimes, kind of like how they say that they say it's your 2022 taxes, but in reality it's for things you made in 2021.
You're getting audited, motherfuckers. And that's how I feel about the draft itself. So I appreciate Andrew bringing that in.
So what what struck me, what's driving me crazy, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole here, is the consensus number one pick is Drew Jones.
Okay.
He's he's the son of Andrew Jones.
Oh, okay.
With the E, not the E.
Yep.
And it fucking blows my mind that we're seeing kids of players that I grew up with.
Dude, Jack
all of a
Leiter's
sudden
kid,
they're
and,
playing.
or John Leiter, and then
Al Leiter. Yeah.
or Al. I'm thinking Jack Leiter's the kid's name,
Yeah.
and then Kumar Rocker, and then
Yep.
we have Vladdy, and then Fernando. Congratulations, you fuck old now, buddy.
Well, listen here. Listen. I know I'm fuck old now. I'm 30, but it's just weird. I know this has been going on forever. Like, I'm looking at the Wikipedia article of second and third generation baseball players. But like, you know, you've got Sandy Alomar Sr. I didn't see him play, obviously, but I did see Roberto and Sandy Jr. play. So if their sons start playing, it's going to drive me insane. Or like freaking Steve Bedrosian has Cam. I didn't even know that Cody Bellinger's father played in the majors.
Yeah.
But then you've got Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, Michael Brantley's father played in the majors? Okay. Drew Butera, I didn't know that. Mike Cameron's son is in the majors? Are you serious?
Does Ken Griffey Jr. have any children that we don't know about? Just
He has a
prepare
kid
for
named
that.
Trey, but he played college football at Arizona.
I mean, to be fair, that is not footsteps you want to follow or even attempt to follow, so I don't blame the kid.
Right. Like Cody Clemens just started, made his debut last week, I think.
Yeah.
The Crone brothers' father, I didn't know that. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm going down the list here.
I didn't know that
I didn't even know Robinson Cano's dad played.
No, I didn't know that. Or like D. Strange Gordon and Nick Gordon, their father.
Yeah, I knew that one.
I mean, I wouldn't it's not necessarily surprising though, in the sum of all things, because
Well, I know that. I mean,
Pudge Rodriguez's son.
we just don't
is a
know
pitcher.
these players.
Pudge Rodriguez's son is with the Giants. He's a pitcher.
right. But it like when I heard that Fernando Tatis Jr. was playing, was coming up, I'm like, what the fuck? Because I saw his father playing in the minors.
Mm.
He used to be in the Texas Rangers system, so he went through AA in Tulsa.
I didn't know Rob Nen's dad played baseball. Damn. Phil Nevin's his son is Tyler Nevin. He's with the Orioles. He made his debut last season.
Do you think when Phil Nevin and then his son are at the Thanksgiving and then there's one too many, then Phil's just kind of like, you think you beat your old man, huh? Takes his shirt off. Let's go right now. You have to, because it's different with siblings. Because I think you have a friendly sibling rivalry, but he might beat my son, but I gotta get that paycheck. I want to get that.
And then this is going to drive me. This drove me insane too. Matt Holliday's son is draft eligible.
Mm.
Like, it was yesterday that I swear it was yesterday that he scored the game-winning runs in game 163 for the Colorado Rockies. Although he missed the plate with his hand, but
No
that's
replay. No replay back then.
That's 15 years ago, apparently, but it still feels like it's yesterday. And now his son is draft eligible.
Mm.
It's like, what the hell is going on? Apparently his son, I'm looking at a picture, his son was a little kid who was putting his fingers in his mouth during the...
I feel like this version of Andrew is Clint Eastwood's character in that one movie where he's a scout.
Control the Curve. No, this
Yeah.
Andrew is now Pepperidge Farm Andrew. Sitting there drinking
Farm,
Arnold
remembers.
Palmer, but it's not Arnold Palmer in the can. It's Arnold Palmer specially made. Rocking back and forth, thinking, "Oh, these baseball players ain't got no idea to be. My day, you could have a pitcher who would go through all the 9 innings, not be there for 4 innings."
I feel like that sometimes.
Mr. Andrew remembers when, Rollins had the best baseball and gloves out there. They even make a mighty fine wallet, you young gents, with your little clips on your payphones on your Apple.
Yeah, I feel like that sometimes. I'm being honest. But here's something crazy. I'm still going further down the list.
Oh boy.
Now we're talking into third generation.
Yeah.
So like David Bell's father.
Oof.
Well,
Damn.
or no, sorry, I was thinking of a different David Bell. Well, obviously the Boone brothers had Bob, you had Ray, then Bob, then Aaron and Brett.
The Hairstones.
I didn't realize that the Hairston brothers' grandfather played.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that their father played, and apparently their uncle played too. And then here's where it gets really interesting. Now they go into their parent played in another top flight league that wasn't Major League Baseball. You had Luis Aparicio, Orlando Cepeda, Julian Lourdes Gurriel, Reggie Jackson. I did not know that. His father played in the Negro Leagues.
Boys, I have to pause this real quick for a big announcement.
Mm.
Both Stanton and Judge have homered.
Oh boy.
What is losing? What is losing? We're afraid to lose. That way we don't lose, boys. Continue.
Okay. Hiroki Kuroda. Derek Lee.
Okay.
I did not know this. Derek Lee's father, Leon, played in the NPB, Nippon Baseball League.
I think I might have known that, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Luis
suggested when we talked about the Nippon League.
Derek Lee was after his playing career, he went out to like Israel to develop baseball players over there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
I read it.
And then Louis Tiant,
Yeah.
the one that we know of, his father played in the Negro Leagues.
Oh.
And then apparently there are second generation umpires.
Oh, Angel Hernandez will never die.
Imagine Angel Hernandez's kid, and he's like he has the same strike zone.
Which movie was it where there was an elderly person trying to possess their like descendants just to come back? Oh, that's Star Wars. Sorry, I just gave you guys the plot. So anyway, just come back.
Oh, Joe Crawford. Let's see. You know, remember Joe Crawford? And
Yeah.
The NBA official. You know, most famous, especially during like the Heat Big Three era. Another son of Shag Crawford. Really, son of Shag Crawford? Now that's a name. Shag Crawford.
That is a pure up porn name, and I am all for that.
And brother of Jerry Crawford. And I guess they were an NBA referee family, I guess. Unless his father was a MLB umpire and he became an NBA official.
How would you even feel about that? I can understand the whole athletics table. What do you want? I want to be a baseball player like my dad. What do you want to be? I want to referee like my dad. That's kind of really shooting, not for the ceiling or the basement, but just the kitchen table.
Well, umpiring is like a huge like thing, right? Like getting through umpiring school and then going up the ranks.
If my child looked at me and said, if my nephew were not,
I would think it's just as competitive. I would assume.
I don't know, Andrew. You have umpired. You can advise on this. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Listen. The crazy thing is, the umpires at the major league level are treated better, in my opinion, than the umpires at the little league level.
Oh yeah, that was that could be its own like goon segment that we see.
I think we have.
Yeah, probably we probably have done it, and every now and then you'll see on Twitter another parent flipping out an umpire. There was an umpire that recently like called the game because like he was just getting yelled at and berated, and he's just like, you know what, forget it, going home. And he's a volunteer. And this is like a little league game for like 7-8-year-olds, and and they're like, oh, and like everybody who had umpired was like, and even like insensible people were like, yeah, parents screwed it for their kids. Why parents, he's not gonna waste his Saturday getting yelled at by fucking Johnny, who just fucking sucks at his job at AutoZone.
No, Jiffy Johnny.
Jiffy Johnny.
Like...
Hey, I will accept no AutoZone slander.
You know AutoZone.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
No AutoZone slander. All right. Well, what Joe's mechanic shop in Polk County, Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, we will accept Joe's mechanic shop in Polk County, Florida.
You guys, do you know there's a Twitter feed that has about Polk County sports, and my ass almost like followed it just for the memeability that we're doing with this? I hate what we've become. I'm trying to avoid my past, but y'all are Spike Spiegeling me so damn hard.
Okay, so we're at 52 minutes. I feel like we have enough time to close this half of the show, and we'll take a look at the handsomest NFL head coaches, but this time from the AFC. All right.
Let me pause high roll real quick because this is important. This requires a lot of attention because there's love at first sight, but then there's love drunk here. We can't do this.
All right, so NFL head coaches, I'm going to go down the list. I'll put up their faces on the screen, and we'll just see which one of them make our loins tingle a little bit. Just a little bit, not that much. Oh, no, however much you want it to, It all depends, whatever floats your boat. It's Pride Month, everybody. And we'll be talking about some goons because we got some stuff to talk about second half of the show.
It's going to be an uncomfortable goon segment for a certain person on this panel.
Well, I don't think it'll be... We'll get to it. It's not really... forget it. Anyways, handsomest NFL head coaches. Let's go. First one, Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh.
I'm stuck with 2008 John Harbaugh when he was first hired.
Really?
Now he's kind of getting the old man jowls because he's just been employed for so long.
He's been there a while, but there he is. He's got a good smile.
He's got a good smile.
There he is in a press
He's the more successful Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I feel like he would buy me extra things because of who his brother is.
Okay. That's true. Seems like the other Harbaugh is a little more outgoing,
Well, yeah.
All right, so yay, nay, handsome, not handsome?
I'll say handsome.
All right, so there we go. So,
question. I have an additional question or a side question.
All right.
Jim or John?
Well, we only date winners here. Jim ain't no winner.
All right. So next, Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott.
Let's get him on the screen.
Let's get him on the screen there.
Let's get him on the screen.
All right.
Because, I have the images of it. I know the coach is a little bit more.
There he is. Lost the hair already.
It's kind of like a roided out. He's kind of who's his name just escapes me now because it's broken. But
like Bill Burr's cousin or something.
Oh, you're I'm trying to say this for the joke. Who was the damn Florida senator defrauded everybody?
Florida senator. Which one?
Oh, the bald one, looking like
Voldemort.
Oh,
fucking
Rick Scott?
Yeah,
Rick Scott.
Skeletor.
I knew it was Rick. I just wanted Scott because I was gonna say this. He looks like a roided out Rick Scott.
Okay,
I can't do it.
All right,
I could see that.
More face fleshed in.
Okay, all right. Next, Zach Taylor, Cincinnati.
You got me thinking what Rick Scott's doing as I'm gonna Google his stats right.
Don't. All right, Zach Taylor.
I forgot he was a junior senator. He looks goofy.
Yeah.
He's got like that boyish charm.
There he is, a little better now.
Doesn't look like he says no to a cheeseburger.
Trying to see if I can find him in a suit. There he is yelling.
You know what? No. No.
No.
It's the face.
There he is next to. There's him next to Sean McVay.
No.
So.
No. He literally looks like moral. You're gonna laugh if you've seen the show. He looks like Moral Oral, as if Oral grew up. And there's nothing you can do to change my mind.
God, I haven't seen that show in forever, and man, is that a messed up show.
Truth hurts.
Next, Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland.
Maybe. Let's get a good image in here.
All right, so Kevin...
My Google searches, man, are gonna be so weird from now on.
Here we go. Cleveland Browns. There he is, all dappered up in the suit.
I think he would look better without the facial hair because he's got some strong ass cheekbones.
Yeah,
but I don't know if that's the angle or not. Because if you look on that, if you look at that front view, he kind of looks.
Maybe better profile from the side. Let's see.
Yeah, well, we all have that good angle. We all have that good angle.
He takes care of the beard. What? He's got the. You can tell.
But it's not a good beard. Listen, we'll say he's handsome. We'll say he's handsome.
All right, I'm trying to find him clean shaven, but apparently not.
Yeah, well,
doesn't have any. Here's the Minnesota. No, all right. Okay, all right. So we'll move on. We'll move on from here. Nathaniel Hackett, Denver Broncos.
Nathaniel Hackett looks like this overhyped man who Denver had to hire.
Mm-hmm. So there he is. Oh boy. Here we go. There he is with the Packers.
No,
there he is with
he looks
the Broncos
like
at his press conference.
He looks like Shea Wiggum.
All right.
Oh God, what? That is not a good kind of bald.
All right, here we go. How about some love for Lovie Smith? Out in Houston.
Lovie grew out the beard. It's
out
more
in
attractive
Houston.
The beard.
There's Lovie Smith.
We'll give Lovie some props. He's handsome at like 57 or 62, or however old he is.
How old is Lovie Smith? Hold on, I'm gonna look at this up. Hold on, real quick. Lovie Smith, he is 64 years old.
Yeah, we'll give it to Lovie. Good skin, exfoliates, grew out the beard to kind of say, this is who I am now. I'm wizened. I'm going to get another chance at Houston. We'll give it to Lovie.
All right. Okay. Next, we got Frank Reich, Indianapolis.
All right, let's try to recall what Frank Reich looks like here.
There he is. There's, ooh. Oh, boy.
Man. Some of these pictures are not
he's
flattering.
like the dad from The Middle. Or something.
No, he kind of looks like he's taking the tequila shots with Jim Irsay.
Probably. That's probably how he got hired. Given the way the Colts operate.
He just sat down in the bar and everybody...
It's not just the tequila, by the way. It's also the Coke.
Well, listen, allegations are allegations, but, I
don't think those are allegations.
Well, according to Jim Irsay and everything, Frank Reich just goes and says, yeah, let me get some Don Julio instead of that 1800 trash, and then Jim Irsay's like, you're my guy.
All right, well, fine. We'll move on.
He was handsome back in the day, though.
Oh, there it is, yeah, when he was younger. All right, so next we've got... Oh, Doug Peterson, Jacksonville.
Oh, hell no. Doug Peterson rocking a goofy-ass haircut.
No. You don't like...
I mean, bring it up so I could just show it to you.
I of course, I know, but, there he is.
Like, get to the one where he doesn't have a hat on.
Oh, let me see.
Down the middle.
This one right here, like at the draft or the combine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a goofy looking dude.
That's goofy.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like somebody who says, draw me John Madden from Thought, and then they came out with Doug Peterson.
All right. Next, we've got, Andy Reid.
I love Andy Reid, but Andy Reid is not our cup of tea.
Come on.
Andy Reid is the guy that you hope finds... Okay. Andy Reid, I hate to say this, is Ralph Wiggum, where, that episode where Lisa goes, it's like, I like you. That was Andy Reid, must have been in, elementary school coming into it, but we love Big Red.
You're going to get...
He'll feed me. He'll feed me.
Oh, I'm about to say, you got to get some great barbecue out in Kansas City with Andy Reid.
Sometimes beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and you have to look past skin deep, and Big Red gets my heart sometimes.
All right. So that's Andy Reid. Next, we've got...
Andy Reid's that guy who goes, let's just order 50 chicken wings at 25, and I'm like, suddenly...
Next, Josh McDaniels, Las Vegas.
The say
haters.
certain things without like getting attacked as being like reverse racism or anything. Ooh. Josh McDaniels is a type for a particular kind of woman and man. Josh McDaniels is not my type, and that's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, no, and he put on that weight.
Yeah. Yeah, they on this Wikipedia article they got like the good picture of him from like back in 2017, and yeah.
Yeah, they're Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels seems like that. If I try to walk away, he'll grab my arm real hard. I'm just saying that. I'm not alluding anything else.
All right. Next, Los Angeles Chargers. Brandon Staley.
Oh, Brandon Staley's a beautiful guy. That heartfelt speech that he gave about the inclusivity and stuff like that from last
There's
season.
Brandon Staley.
Yeah,
There you go.
I mean, he's
On the
he's what you
younger
call
side.
the safe bet. He doesn't lift weights, but he's a safe bet. His favorite, Brandon Staley, the guy who wakes up and says, "I'm gonna do a 3-mile run before I go to work." Safe bet.
Okay.
He's the guy that you trust to at least take you to Chili's and not try anything weird after.
Oh, here we go. How about Mike McDaniel, Miami?
Oh man, he's fucking goofy. But there's a charming thing about him. Mike McDaniel makes me understand why people like Pete Davidson, if that makes sense whatsoever.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah,
It's the best way I can explain it to you.
yeah. All right. Okay. Let's go to how about a goodie, Bill Belichick.
Listen, Bill Belichick's a winner, and I acknowledge that. There's a confidence about it. You know, we've seen it. We're attorneys. We parade around. We see that young bolstery attorney, and then there's something about prominence and presence and not giving an F. Bill Belichick got it.
All
He's
right,
got a
well.
cute dog.
Yeah,
He's got a
well,
cute
yeah.
dog.
Let's take a look at his dog real quick.
He pulling some
There's
stuff.
his
in real
dog
life.
Nike right there, huh? The real MVP of the 2020 NFL draft.
Yeah, you know, he's just that taciturn that you think doesn't care.
There's
and
his
then really
dog
has
when
a
he
soft
was
side.
making the pick for the Patriots. So there he is right there. I mean, come on. At the 2021 draft, he brought his dog over. So yeah, there's Bill Belichick with Nike. All right. Next.
One of these days, we'll have to do a dogs of NFL head coaches.
I mean,
He's the only one I know of.
that's true. We don't know all the other ones. Heck, it could say
It's a
something.
cute ass dog.
Yeah, it is. Next, Robert Saleh,
Daddy.
New York Jets.
That's a handsome man, bro.
There we go. Look at that. Now he's doing the bald right there.
Yeah.
He looks
he's
good
not looking
bald.
like Nathaniel Hackett, who's looking like he's about to send me to meet a necromancer.
There you go. He's got that Joe Girardi vibe.
Yeah.
just saying.
Robert Saleh's got that daddy mode going on. Unfortunately, he's not the ultimate daddy in the AFC.
Oh, there he is. All right. There we go. Yeah. Next, we've got here's another one. Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin is attractive because he looks like Omar Epps.
Interesting.
He does.
Yeah.
He keeps
A
in
little
shape.
bit. Yeah. Oh no,
And he's loyal.
one of the-
Loyal to a
yeah,
degree.
Yeah. Oh well, there he is. That wow, man, that was him when he was younger. Dear Lord. Yeah. No,
It's the shades too, man.
yeah. And it's true. He's got style. All right. Next, we've got. Let's see. Oh, your boy, Mike Vrabel.
The ultimate daddy. The man who out-daddies Robert Saleh.
There he is. There he is there with the stash.
I mean, look, that's poise, that's confidence, that's intensity.
Yeah.
That's a guy who has, he knows how to have laughs and a couple of drinks.
Deals with the
Pull the
wackiness that
gear.
goes on in his house.
Like, jacked up.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna let no punk talk to you at the bar. Mike Vrabel's the guy that says, all right, if you're out with that date with your family and he's with you and then someone else buys drinks, because, that's a typical young person move, he'll take the drinks and then he'll beat your ass after. So Mike Vrabel.
All right.
Hard energy.
Okay. And let's see. I think that's it. That's it for the AFC. So Charles, who's
Daddy V.
Really? That's
Big
who
Daddy
it is.
V.
All right. So Mike
For the
Vrabel.
AFC.
Oh, now we got to choose. Mike Vrabel versus
It's
Sean McVay.
It's Sean McVay.
All right, Sean McVay. He goes on. He wins the Super Bowl, but that's not as good as being named Charles's handsomest head coach in the NFL right now. Oh, you said you were gonna also, yeah. Who's the ugliest head coach in your opinion in NFL history?
So the ugliest head coach. You gotta give me a second, because I feel like this is going to. Let me just see how they looked at that time as opposed to aging. Right, I had to get the name right because my brain's not working half the time. All right, let me just verify. So, I think this is gonna kind of not make sense to people, but it kind of makes sense to people. Pat Shurmur's kind of fugly. I'm just saying. Former coach of the New York Giants, and he was OC to the Denver Broncos.
Let me see.
He might not be the ugliest in mankind history, but there's just qualities that aren't for me. Mind you, this is on my preferences.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit Francisco's.
He's a goofy looking dude.
Yeah, it's kind of like. Yeah, well, that's the old ones. You got to go into more modern times now. Nothing ain't hidden right. He might not be the ugliest. Technically, Al Davis was a coach, so you can definitely throw Al Davis in there. In that sense, I want to think of like a current one that had gotten fired because everybody gets fired so much.
I don't see a
in the
single
NFL.
photo of him smiling. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's got a goofy. Yeah. Okay.
Honorable mention.
Okay.
Honorable mention. Norv Turner.
Yeah, Norv Turner.
Norv Turner is an honorable mention.
Yeah.
He's just so far remote from the league that I don't want to use him. And then also Mike Shanahan as he got older.
He kept turning red. Just kept getting redder.
He became a tomato with good hair.
Oh, yeah. He's got the hair. He's always had the hair. But okay. All right, so that's it. So that's where we're done with that. Let's go to a word from our non-sponsors, people, places, things, concepts, what have you, that we've been enjoying over the last week. Guys, I got one. I want to start. My non-sponsor is corn.
Corn with a
The
K?
band or the starch?
The band.
No, the starch. Corn with a C. Just corn. Just corn. I love corn. Corn is awesome.
You can't digest it right.
Huh?
You know you can't digest it right.
Oh, but maize, what do you want to call it? Just corn. I love corn. Is awesome. I love everything about it. You know, arepas are made out of corn.
We do, and we love arepas. We fuck with that hard.
Arepas are made out of corn muffins, corn bread, roasted corn. All right, street corn. I love me some street corn.
Mexican street corn.
Exactly. You know, corn on the cob.
Popcorn, you cannot affiliate it with regular corn.
I lump it in. I will lump it in. Popcorn, caramel with butter, cheese, cheddar cheese, however you want. You white cheddar cheese, right? All kinds of versions. Just corn, man. Corn oil, corn syrup.
Corn pops. Gotta have my pops.
Gotta have my pops. Murder some people over it for sure. And just corn, man. People don't appreciate corn enough. I'm gonna give it its due. I love me some corn, man. Yeah. There we go. Promo code. Damn it, man. I can't think of something. Loop back around to me. I'll figure something out.
I feel like I should write that for you. If you don't know.
Go ahead. Yeah, throw yours. Any ideas you guys have for
you just corn. Like corny.
Yeah. No, I didn't want to use that one. I thought that was too corny.
Corny. Damn.
All right, fine. Corny. But yeah, corn, man. I don't know. I've been on a corn kick.
Yeah. What led to
not
this,
a porn kick? A corn kick. For sure. Man, I just, I've been having corn muffins and roasted corn and sweet corn. Like, I don't know. I've just been thinking about corn lately. I'm kind of getting now that I have my baker's rack in my room. I'm like things are churning. I made arepas not too long ago. Like things are churning in my head as to what I want to like start cooking again. And it just corn was on my head. I just wanted corn, so that's why. So, all right, who's next?
I can go because I know I did last time. So sometimes, you want to go back to simpler times in life when you were younger. I'm 32, going on 33. I think about stuff sometimes: evolution, growth, change, and sometimes you have to think, you get to a certain age, and what has changed about you, and certain things remain the same. Your birthmarks, personality sometimes remain the same. Appetites sometimes remain the same. And you ever eat something that just takes you back to a simpler time or brings out the little kid in you? And no, it's not tricks, even though they're for kids. I gotta tell you, one of my favorite things to snack on when I actually do go food shopping in full is getting things that are bite-sized. I don't know what it is. There's something about bite-sized, even though it's probably the same size of a regular thing, but just kind of like, oh, this is great, but something about it. And the other day, I got the Little Bites by Enemans or Hostess or whatever. Those little muffins. They're kind of muffins, kind of cupcakes. And, they're either blueberry or they're chocolate. And I just popped that sumbitch open and I took a bite. And I had this flashback in being in PS 106 in Jackson Heights, Queens, New York, being back in New York, being 6 years old, dealing with the hecklers and stuff like that. And I'm just eating it. And that stuff has not changed. It is one of those few base formulas of store manufactured food.
Which one? What is it exactly?
Little Bites.
Oh yeah, here we go.
That things change. Coke changed, and then they had new Coke and stuff like that. Pepsi, I swear, has changed. Mountain Dew changed for the worse. Little Bites has remained the same. They are the constant in your life that you need. That if you have a struggle and you got to run up that hill like Kate Bush, because forgive me, I don't watch Stranger Things, but I know that song's been on blast, and we are a slut for Kate Bush. I love those. Wuthering Heights, Babushka, get on that. Kate Bush, that's your shout out too. Running Up the Hill is such a good song. But for Little Bites, and there's so many different varieties. Do I want the blueberry? Do I want the chocolate chip? Do I want to get that flashback when I'm like 8 years old in Polk County? Do I want to get the reminder of who I am at 32, 33? I say, what's your little inner spirit from Charles back in the day doing? Little Bite centers me because it's delicious. My mouth's watering right now. I might go get some because it has that sweet kind of sticky flavor. The blueberry's good. The chocolate chip's good. And just go with milk. Let's go with water.
They have
I want to drink some
s'mores
OJ,
flavor?
get it for breakfast. They have s'more flavors. I don't know if I want that, but I'm willing to try anything and everything because it might be a little bite.
Strawberry yogurt.
Ooh, that's a little sacrilegious. I
haven't
see some
seen that
Chris,
one.
though. But it might be bite-sized, but it's got a big effect on me. Get that sugar level going. Little midnight snack, man. You wanna go eat your granola bar? You go eat your granola bar. You guys with your weird shit that you like to do with the granola bars and Francisco's Big Blast. I don't judge you. Protein bars, go ahead and do them. They're gonna give you gas. Little Bites don't give you that gas. Little Bites don't leave you hungry for more of anything else. You're full. You're fed. Your soul is enriched and fulfilled. Get you some. Promo code nostalgia.
They got recipes for these? Hold on. I gotta look at this. Hold on. Get inspired. Yeah, let's see what you guys got.
I love you, but I don't know if you can replicate
I just want to see what they've got.
They're
what
exactly dirt cheap too.
Let's see. Little Bites. We've got Little Bites snack placemat. No. Oh, that's just making the freaking placemat out of the box and just never.
I mean, and look at that.
frame.
You can entertain, a 32-year-old man or like a 6-year-old child.
Blueberry
frames.
Froyo Pops. Summer apple cinnamon surprise.
Listen, it's getting to that time of the year where we need some cool stuff.
Let's see. Little Bites funny face muffins. Breakfast sliders. Oh, breakfast sliders. Hold on a second.
Hold up here. Are you telling me there's big size Little Bites?
Hold on. Oh, no. They have a YouTube video for this where they teach you how to do it.
My God.
Oh, boy.
Christ.
Let's see. What does she do? It's 55 seconds long, so she's... she just cuts... Oh, no. She takes the muffin, she cuts it in half, and then stuffs it with... like strawberries or blueberries or whatever.
I mean, I feel like that's sacrilegious for me and put any kind of additional flavoring on there. A jelly, a jam.
Yeah, they got jam in there. Yeah, that's what she's doing. Yeah, she's just sticking the fruits with the jam and just doing that. I see how.
Sometimes we think that we could just do things that we forgot to ask. Why are we?
I thought it was like like breakfast sausage or stuff inside of it. I was about to go crazy.
Jet man, if you have a party, people want they want to get the little toothpicks and get the whole platters and stuff like that. You want to get your whole little, finger foods. Get this. I'd be more appreciative. I don't need escargot. I need little bites.
Yeah, that's good. All right, Andrew, you're up.
1 sec.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He loves it.
No, sorry, a play was going on in the hockey game.
Yep. Yeah, it just started.
So I don't think I've covered them, but it's JBL, and no, I'm not talking about the wrestler. I'm talking about the audio company.
Yes,
good quality.
Did you do JBL before?
No,
you did it.
I have Jabra,
and then I think Andrew, you did Skull.
Andrew did Skull Candy.
Yeah,
I did Skull Candy for my earbuds.
Okay.
I think we talked about JBLs offline, off show.
All right, so JBL.
Yes, JBL, specifically Charge 3.
Charge 3. Is it?
What kind? It's an older model.
Okay. Is it their? Oh yeah. Well, they're up to the Charge 5 now.
Right.
So I'm gonna look. All right.
I got this puppy a few years ago. It's pretty tiny. It's maybe about 6 inches in length by probably.
There's the Charge 3. I found it.
3 inches in diameter.
And they're still about $100. All right.
They're relatively well expensive.
But yeah, it's for its small size. It has really good bass, and bass is very important to me because you can get good treble anywhere. The high notes and stuff, and that's all fine, but the bass notes is where it really comes into how good the music sounds. So for its size, it has really good bass. It's pretty easy to connect with your phone.
What color is yours?
Black.
Okay.
It's really easy to connect by Bluetooth. You can hear your calls through it as well. It'll take any sort of audio. I mean, it was more expensive when I got it. I don't remember when I got it. But yeah, it's still working great. I have to assume that the Charge 5 is better. I mean, unless JBL is like EA, where they're hey, Pat Maroon, 1-0 Lightning with 2 minutes and 38 seconds into the first period.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna put that game in the background actually, instead of this Marlins game that doesn't matter.
The big rig.
He's so annoying. I want him on my team, but he's so annoying.
He's going for a 4-peat,
Yeah, I know. That's why he's a winner.
Yeah, so Charles, he won 2019 with St. Louis, and has won the last 2 with us. So yeah. Anyway.
Which makes me wonder. I mean, actually, I think I know the answer to my question, so I don't want to ask it now. Sorry. It was one of those sports-related things of what player is the one who had the most consecutive wins in a row of main championships, and I think it's Bill Russell. So, stops me.
Or Yogi, maybe. Probably had a few.
Obviously, it's going to be something, probably at least 4. I know that for sure. uh, because Gretzky et al., or was it the Islanders, had a four-peat.
Yeah, the Islanders had a four-peat. The Oilers didn't do four-peat. They didn't, but they won 5 in like 7 seasons.
Yeah. But in terms of consecutive.
Yeah. And then like the Yankees, like the
40s and
50s Yankees.
The Canadians back in the
I don't really count the original 6 era.
Okay.
Because it's just 6 teams. I mean, sheesh.
Fair enough.
I count like after expansion, which is why, like even then, the Montreal had a 4-peat also that time too, right? Like the late 70s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So I guess it's a very brief learn-a-goof. The Canadians are the Yankees of hockey. In not in the sense that everyone hates their guts, although actually a lot of people hate their guts, but in the sense that they have the most championships.
Yeah, even after expansion era, they still have the most.
They're actually the last. They are the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup. They won in 1993. Beat Wayne Gretzky and the LA Kings. Their backstop was, of course, Patrick Roy.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow, we got way off topic from JBL. So yeah, JBL. Like I said, I can't really speak to the quality of Charge 3 or Charge 4.
Hold on, let me look at the Charge 5 just to see what the difference is. I just want to see. Just real quick.
I have to assume that unless they're EA, where the quality of Maddon keeps going down every year, I have to assume that the Charge 5 keeps going up. The charges keep going up in quality.
So the Charge 3 was $105, and the Charge 5 is $180, and it's 20 hours of music playing time, sound output 30 watts. I mean, it's waterproof. Too. I mean, the other one's waterproof as well, right? Yours is too.
But I'm going to be honest. I haven't tested the waterproof capability of mine, and I honestly won't intentionally test it. I just don't trust it because it's
it's probably the sound quality. It says original Pro. I mean, maybe it's louder and I don't know, handles stuff. I have no idea.
Usually they just the new things that they do in iterations is changing for ear placements. And then also, like you talk about waterproof, I'm going to go real nerd here, forgive me. You talk about waterproof, sometimes it's just the form of IP that they are, how far the depth can go. So it might be a higher quality grade, and then maybe there's some amplified bass that they do. I know this because of all the time I spent looking for the Jabras. And trust me, I look at those Elites all the time, but I'm going to go broke if I buy everything nice and shiny technology-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But so, JBL's a good brand.
Charge 5. Hold on, what happened here? I think we have a penalty. Okay. Anyway, Charge 3, JBL, promo code, all about that bass.
Yay.
He gives me that, but you can't give me corny.
I know. But I didn't want to do corny. But whatever, corny. Next. Let's see, we're at an hour 24. The what did I have in my head before we left? I had something in my head, but I forgot it. Well, Colorado Avalanche swept the Edmonton Oilers. We can look at that series real quick because it was a quick series. It was like over before it even started. It seemed like, but. Yeah, the Edmonton Oilers, they could not hack it.
They ran into Connor McDavid played out of his goddamn mind during the playoffs. If he didn't set record, I have to assume he broke some records or set some records.
Let's take a look. I'm gonna look at the series.
I didn't watch much of the series. I just watched when my team is not involved in the playoffs, I watch clinching games. Or the tail end of clinching games. Apparently Leon Draisaitl was playing. People were saying like his ankle was dangling.
Yeah.
It was being kind of MacGyvered together with scotch tape and shit. Obviously, I didn't see much of the series, so I wouldn't know, but I'll trust the people that were sports writers for it. Yeah, that's hockey this time of year, and you got to feel for them because you're putting your body on the line
your
like that.
Your comment about Mike Smith being a Siev was an understatement. To say the least.
Being a what?
Sieve.
A sieve. There we go. That's what it is.
Explain this to me like I don't know what the word sieve means. Because I thought you were going to say simp, and I'm like, oh, what's wrong with a simp, man?
A sieve is, oh God, I don't know what an actual sieve is, but at least when it's used in like sporting terms, it's basically, think of it like Swiss cheese, like everything you get through it.
Yep.
Like a sieve.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, maybe that's how. Maybe some people pronounce it a little differently, so that might be it. But yeah, he's.
I think I've heard sieve as a pronunciation as well, but I just say sieve.
So.
The word that is spelled SIEVE.
Yes, I say sieve. My dumbass thinks sieve. I'm like, civilization? Like the long-standing RTS series?
Oh boy. Game one. The Avs scored 8, but of course that was a barn burner, 8-6. Then
it wasn't all on Smith though. They pulled him for
yeah.
someone.
Well, it didn't really matter who was behind that for Colorado for Edmonton there at that point, right? Game 2, 4-0, shutout by the Avs. Then game 3, 4-2, and then the best game of the series was game 4. The Oilers gave it all they had, went into overtime, and 6-5, Colorado. But yeah, it's this Avs team. Because I have the receipts from the past few years where I was just picking the Avs just as the Western Conference champion. Like it's the Avs year. This is the year. This is finally the year. Maybe this is finally the year, guys. Maybe it's finally the year the Avalanche actually do what they've been building all these years for. And funny thing, I mean, I think we mentioned it last episode. The Avs are kind of in that same sort of position the Lightning were, where like they've been building for this for years. They just, they kind of made it out of the second round. They just always something went wrong, and now they're pushing forward, pushing ahead, and here they are. Stanley Cup Finals again for the first time since 2001, when all those guys way back when won. Freaking Ray Bourque was on that team, just Sakic himself, and now he's the head honcho. But it's this Avs team is super good. Like
I'm just gonna go down the list here.
I kind of wish the Panthers had just let them win the President's Trophy, and they would have that little bit of extra pressure, and maybe the Panthers would have like mentally had a different mindset going into the playoffs, right? Oh, we're just number 2. All right, number 1 in the East, not the.
I tell you, man, curse.
But anyways, man.
So, anywho, you're not going to know any of these names, Charles, but
I can try. I have tried this season for you guys, but unless you're talking about days
and we
in
appreciate
future past.
Okay, so you've got Andre Burakovsky, Andrew Cogliano, Nazem Kadri, of course, we mentioned him last episode, or was it the week before that, due to all the death threats and shit he and his family were getting.
I recall that gentleman, yes.
Their captain, Gabriel Landeskog. Nathan McKinnon, their alternate.
It was
Nichushkin,
superstar. Just
Valerie
literal. He is a superstar. Like people,
McKinnon.
yeah. Like he is.
Yeah.
He's. I might even say he's the second best offensive player in the NHL.
That could be argued.
But I feel like it's still McDavid at number one, but I would say McKinnon would probably be number two, in my opinion.
And they have, let's see, Mikko Rantanen. There's their other alternate.
Did you mention McCarr?
Oh, I didn't even mention McCarr.
Yeah, defenseman.
Wait, is he? Oh, wait, he's a defenseman. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a defenseman. And he scored 5 points in the series. Like they scored 6 goals. He was responsible for 5 of them, in some way.
Yeah, which Charles is, for a defenseman, that's insane.
I know the positions. I know they are usually not defensemen. The wings are not usually the quality of the scorers.
I mean, you've got some guys like probably the prototypical offensive defenseman, as it were, with Bobby Orr back in the 70s. I'd say probably the closest to it right now would be Victor Hedman.
See, I view it as like the equivalent of in baseball. You don't have catchers who can hit home runs that much.
Yeah, that's not a bad analogy.
Yeah, because there are, and if you have a defenseman that's actually knows how to play defense and has the offense, then yeah, those are the stars. Whereas you might have some defensemen that are just like they literally call them they're stay-at-home defensemen. Literally, they're right next to the blue line and they're running back as soon as it even looks like the puck is going to go out of the zone, and they have to play defense right there. Whereas other guys are purely offensive defensemen. They are liabilities on defense, but they are literally quarterbacks in a sense, or point guards, like in the NBA. That's all they do. They just pass, and they're really good at it.
That's where you start to get like I said, Victor Hedman, because. And I keep referencing him because he's always in the running for the Norris Trophy as best defenseman, but also because he's kind of like the new prototype for like a two-way defenseman, where he is killer on offense, but he's also killer on defense. There's not really a weakness either way for him. But yeah, that's anyone who's going to play Colorado is going to have a tough time. So yeah, it's unfortunate that Edmonton ran into them. I hope for McDavid's sake and Draisaitl's sake that they get another chance at some point. I think they will.
It is.
Guys like that deserve.
Yeah.
No one is entitled to a sports trophy, but there are some guys where, like Ray Bork,
like the Oilers have to figure out a way to build on this because they're close. They're not. They're like this is the closest they've been in a while since like 2006, but but even then, that team wasn't even like this team. That they didn't have a superstar on that team. That was just a bunch of guys. But like here, like this is very much where are they going to build on this, or are they just going to be the Angels of baseball or of hockey? Where you have 2 superstars and you're just wasting them away, so that's. But I mean, good on the Oilers. They found a way to use Evander Kane. Really effectively. He had a pretty good playoff this season, which is help him, get those gambling debts in order. And I mean, it's literally like it's literally what happens with his salary. They literally he has to pay off his gambling debts, and
Lannister always pays off his debts.
And this Oilers team was fun. Mike Smith just, dude, is he like 40? Is he like 40 years old or something like that? Mike Smith is old.
I think he's at least 40.
Yeah, like it's time, dude.
But the problem was, it's funny, in the game last night, he was pissed off that the referees allowed a goal.
Yeah.
He thought it was goaltender interference. But the problem is, Mr. Smith, that you didn't heed the words of the wordsmith Steve Dangle, which is, if you're a goaltender, tend the goal.
Yeah. Stay in your net. Yeah.
Because this
crease he is 40, by the way.
This crease-leaving motherfucker decides to go out to the end boards, which is probably like at least 15 feet away from the net, decides to play the puck, and
like he's more tempered or something.
Ooh, that hurt. Eric Chernak of the Lightning was trying to slap the puck into the offensive zone, and it hit the post. God damn it. And different play hit the post, but Chernak slaps the puck and it hits one of the Rangers players on the foot.
Yeah, I just saw it. It's on our screen too, but yeah, that stuff hurts, guys. There's no amount of padding. I mean, sheesh, I left with the bruise at freaking adult learn to skate hockey from someone who I went to block a shot because I'm an idiot and and that's what happened to me.
Yeah, there's not a lot of padding on skates. I mean, some people use skate guards sort of now, where it's just an added level of like hardened plastic or maybe carbon fiber. Yeah. But when you're slapping a puck like that from Eric Chernak, that it's basically taking a 90-mile-per-hour fastball off your foot. It's not going to hurt. I mean, no, it's not going to hurt. It's going to really hurt. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so...
But Mike Smith.
Yeah, Mike Smith comes out of the net, tries to play the puck, and instead he plays it to one of the Avalanche. Mm-hmm. So, it's like, dude, that one's on you, man.
Yeah.
So Mike Smith's going to have a lot to think about in the offseason if he even comes back to play, because like you said, he's 40. 40 is old for hockey. 40 is really old for a goalie.
Yeah.
Hockey 40 is basically Ric Flair 76.
Yeah, maybe a couple of more years. I think by the time you're getting to like 42 is when you're like, all right, dude, you really need to hang up the pads here.
So I'm looking at Mike Smith's contract on Cap Friendly. He is what the hell is this? He's going to be the Oilers goaltender for one more season.
Oh boy. Okay.
The Oilers signed him to a 2-year, $4.4 million contract back in mid-2021. So,
and I will say this about Mike Smith. He is a good puck handler for a goalie. I mean, he scored a goal a few seasons ago when he was playing for Arizona. Mm-hmm. Really only the elite of the elite puck handlers can do that.
But he's had a good career. He's a good goalie.
But he ain't into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so slightly above average, I would say. Average to above average is his range.
How long has he been in the league?
Ooh, he's been in the league forever. Let's see. He is... I'm going to look this up real quick. I just had it.
It's been at least 12 years,
He has been, I'm going on Hockey Reference, has been an NHL goaltender since 2006-07.
Has he ever been benched or injured?
So with Dallas, he was with the Stars making his debut. He played for the Lightning.
Yep.
And then went on over to Phoenix. Was with the Coyotes when they made it to the Western Conference Finals. And then went to Calgary. And then the Calgary did that weird thing where they swapped goaltenders. it was a Cam Talbot and Mike Smith, and then they traded for each other's goalies for some weird reason, and then and now he's in Edmonton, and so that's what's, and then the Oilers decided to extend him 2 more seasons, and that really shows you that the Oilers don't really have anybody in the pipeline in their minor league system, or maybe they do, and they're just holding out as long as possible with Mike Smith. But whoever, if they have somebody waiting in the wings, they better get him up soon, because they need some. Oh, like they need somebody. They need somebody that can like. They can make up for their deficiencies on defense with a above average goaltender, and with the powerhouse that they have in scoring wise, they can make up for it. But it probably won't translate to the playoffs unless the goaltender gets hot. So, yeah. All right. So that's this series. So that's the Avalanche will face off against either Tampa or New York. It's 2-1 in that series. But we're in an hour and 41 minutes. So I don't.
Before we go to the Charles, how long do you think you'll need for the cage today?
It is really just going to be about the pay-per-view and a particular man that I was sending copious amounts of shirtless photos to you guys too. So I don't think it'll be too long, probably 15 minutes at most, because AAW Forbidden Door, that's all you need to know.
Do you think we can take a brief interlude, not long, but just to address, I'm hearing rumors that Deshaun Watson's contract could be just straight up white.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I will always have time to shit on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
As I saw on ESPN reported, met 66 women.
That is true.
I can abridge the cage well enough to shit on Deshaun Watson.
All right, let's do it.
And the Cleveland Browns, which brings me so much
Is he a
joy.
goon? Do we want to say goons on this one? Or...
Yeah, of course.
All right. We'll label
The
it.
Cleveland Browns.
Sure.
Francisco, next episode, I'd like to take a segment of time.
Oh, we haven't done. Oh yeah. Oh, let's do goons, and then we'll head to the cage, because we didn't talk about the thing with the pride with the certain group of Rays players. I wanted to mention that at the very least.
Okay, all right. Hey, listen, I have as much beef with them as you guys.
All right, so we'll start with that, and then we'll go to the whole Watson thing real quick. But just a quick note here. Tampa Bay Rays, it's Pride Month, so a lot of the corporations and teams are doing their token things, obviously, but a lot of it comes from a good heart, of course. But the Rays decided to do their own thing, right? All right, fine. We'll put on the hats and the warm-up jerseys or warm-up shirts and what have you with the rainbow colors and whatnot, and there you go. And so the Tampa Bay Rays had most players, I would say 99% of players in baseball and other sports, they'll just put on the thing. They'll use it. They'll put on the warm-up jerseys or what have you, or shirts or jackets or shorts or hats, and they'll do the thing. They'll whatever, have maybe a couple
act inauthentic and fake.
They'll talk about, maybe one or two might say something, hey, like hockey has like hockey is for everyone thing they do every year. Like it's a thing. But 5 Rays players decided, no, I will not. My faith, what Jesus Christ says I can't. And I will follow Jesus. All right. And so
I just want to address the absolutely ridiculous the argument that I'm seeing a lot of people bring up is, well, you're discriminating against me because of my beliefs, and you're discriminating like you wouldn't talk to somebody who's a conservative and shit. It's like, and these guys brought up the whole lifestyle BS. It's like, listen, if you're going to, it's one thing if you're going to base your affiliation and whatever on someone's choice. You can't choose your race. You can't choose your nationality. You can't choose. There are certain things. I think, what is it? The immutable characteristics that they call it
Oh
in
God!
combat.
Don't talk about my work, man. That's what I have to deal with every day at work. But yes,
But
I get it. Yeah, there are some things that are innate in one's self that is their thing. You know,
sexual orientation is one of them.
so
Sexual orientation, sexual identity. There are a zillion terms for it, but you don't choose to be gay or straight because, quite honestly, given the amount of persecution they get, why the hell would anyone willingly go through that? Kind of like how I'm like, why would anyone willingly convert to Judaism given all the shit that we get? But I digress.
No bacon either.
So these are the 5 players: Jason Adam, Jalen Beeks, Brooks Raley, Jeffrey Spriggs, and Ryan Thompson.
Who are these clowns?
The guys that show up in the meme with the sunglasses.
No. I mean, do they even play? Are they just minor league guys? Are they your 27 men? I have never heard of these people in my life.
Neither have I. I'm a Rays fan.
Oof. The petty is strong.
And these were in-game things, right, Andrew? Because
Correct.
sometimes they do like warm up. They just wear them in warm ups and then they wear their regular uniforms during the game. But these are actual like.
The San Francisco Giants last year became the first team that wore a
in-game
rainbow-colored logo during a game. In this case, it was on their hats. The logo, the SF logo for the Giants, was rainbow-colored for one game. So the Rays decided to do that as well. So all but those 5 idiots said, "Great, let's do that."
Was it in the frickin' Bible? The rainbow came out as like God's compact, like he's not gonna fucking destroy the world again with a flood.
Something like that.
Isn't that in there? Like, rainbows are a Bible thing too, guys. So you're just going against God, against the pact. So the Earth's gonna get flooded. All right, so we all gotta get ready.
Does that
because
make
5 Rays players decided?
Angel?
5 Rays players decided to, destroy the pact between God and humanity. And I'm just going by their beliefs.
It's Tampa. It's Tampa.
It's Polk. Yeah, they'll be welcome in Polk County, as we all know.
Yeah.
All right. So there's that. That's enough of that. A lot of people are. Okay. Deshaun Watson, real quick. Let's go. Things went down.
Oh, you gonna
can we do this?
Deshaun?
Can we do this in 2 minutes? We're at hour 48. Can we? But stuff, we can talk about stuff that came out. I mean,
Charles,
let's talk about some massages, guys. Let's see. What kind of massage was he looking for? Huh?
I would be okay extending the show an extra few minutes just so we can rag on Deshaun Watson.
All right. How many massage therapists does it take for you to find the right one, Charles? You're a massage aficionado.
I have been going to Bill for like 8 weeks now, or not 8 weeks, but 8 sessions, and I'm a one masseuse guy.
All right, yeah. Do you need to go through 66 of them over a 17-month period?
And I actually don't have to ask him to touch my penis either, Deshaun. You might have more. Okay, I'm gonna. Ooh! If you ever had to do a hot take that's gonna get me in trouble, I'm gonna do it now, Deshaun. You might have more money than me. You might be more physically gifted than me. You kind of might be attractive in a certain light, But the difference between you and I that I think is the big standout is I've never had to go to a massage therapist, male or female, because I've been worked on both, with down in the skivvies. First off, that's creepy. You just go your boxers or briefs, and that's it. And have him be like, and do anything to ask for sex with them. Even though he'll say it's consensual sex, I still think you use an asserted power and influence to not pressure, but open a doorway to something that isn't there. It's a service good, man. Your goods are not meant to be serviced. And if I'm gonna die poor and broke with bad stories and some laughs that come into it, but I'll take pride, and that's the distinction between you and I, where I've had rotating massage therapists. People had the elements, they don't stay forever, and I've been going there for like 4 or 5 years. But I don't have this lawsuit from massage therapists on me, so I'll take it.
Yeah. that burned about as well as I would say. Well, we could.
So I'm pulling up an article here from PFT, Pro Football Talk, which I think is a subsidiary of NBC.
I think so. I think it's NBC Sports.
So it says, just kind of sifting through. Says it's possible they knew via aggressive questioning Deshaun Watson's party of their own clients there was a 24th interaction that could have resulted in a claim being made. That's important for multiple reasons. First, if this person whose name previously wasn't known to Watson's legal team now files a criminal complaint, the allegations could be submitted to another grand jury. And the graphic details contained in the 24th complaint, if repeated to a grand jury and accepted by them, could result in an indictment. Second, if Watson eventually is suspended for the conduct alleged in the 24th lawsuit, the Browns possibly will be able to void his guarantees and move on from him, and possibly a significant portion of his signing bonus. So
I'm sure there's a recourse because obviously his attorney probably had a backdoor to this, at least recoup some money in case of the event of a termination.
Probably. But I just want to say, Browns, you guys are idiots.
You Browns.
They're dripped with desperation as their new star quarterback.
They had one good season and then suddenly
I mean, am I going to get canceled for? I'm going to say the joke anyway. They're the same way as how Deshaun was. They're like, come on, just look at it, please. That's how they treated the Deshaun hiring. That's how I feel nothing bad.
I don't think this show is cancelable. I don't think we're at that.
Well, you know, the truth hurts. Remember that.
Yeah.
This is boring. We've talked about it in the past, and it only gets progressively worse because I think Cleveland had the right to sign him, right? Or trade for him. Every team can go get who they want to get unless your name is Colin Kaepernick for a reason, right? But my biggest complaint is you went full guarantee, and that's how desperate you were because he didn't even want to go to you guys. Oof.
That's true. He wanted to go to Miami.
You want to go to Miami?
That's where he wanted to go.
So what drives me nuts if I was a Browns fan is why on God's green earth would Baker Mayfield come back to you now?
But he's not, to a degree. He's still under contract with them, and no one wants to trade them because they know they're going to cut bait. And for Baker's purposes, it's the ultimate kind of petty. Let's say if he is suspended for the entire year, Baker's going to play out that 1 year and then try to get his draft stock up or trade stock up to get more money. And here's the thing: they could
FU season.
Yeah, they could, in theory, franchise tag him, but if they weren't willing to pay him, they were never going to pay that same amount of what Deshaun was making annual salary-wise. So I don't think they would go franchise tag him, but what you're going to do is essentially, holy shit, we're going to go down the road, we'll talk about NFL, but what you do in this answer is you let him get up, you trade him out, and then you go for a backup free agent who's currently playing in Miami right now, who will be a free agent soon, or you trade for a different like-minded talent like Tua. Baker, I don't think gets traded if this thing goes down. I don't think he comes back for the next season. I think they let him walk, but you do it for the draft capital, save some money, and you get a mid-level guy. Because if they succeed, and Cleveland could succeed, to at least get middle-round draft picks, it's very hard to get a quarterback. So it's just Baker itself. Why wouldn't Baker come back? Because he obviously wants to go to a new team, but he doesn't want to be blackballed. Because the one thing is, if you're a quarterback, just like a running back, if you're deemed to be a problem child who can't perform, you don't get as many opportunities, right?
Yeah, he's kind of getting
like Baker Mayfield should be starting for the Panthers
goods with all the injuries, you know.
Yeah, but look at this way, Andrew. Baker Mayfield is better than the two starters on both the Seattle Seahawks and losing my train of thought here. Seattle Seahawks, arguably a lot of teams. He's better than Drew Lock over in Seattle, better than, I would kind of say better than Justin Fields in Chicago right now, but Fields was kind of thrown to the wolves and he doesn't have much support. He's better than, I think you can make the argument that he's better than Jameis Winston, even though Winston looked fine in that system last year with Peyton. He still had a 56% completion. I would say he's better than Zach Wilson, but he's been labeled a problem child, so he's not going to get as much of an opportunity when you get Bubba. He's better than Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold's not a problem child, but this man gets his option picked up. He was traded for a third round. Yeah, they get Matt Corral. However, doesn't mean anything. But Baker is actually a quality starter on a lot of teams. But for the strategy of it is like, we're going to wait till he's cut and release. But the problem is, if you know who else was deemed a problem child and was a quarterback and couldn't get certain things? Colin Kaepernick. So NFL petty like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're at 156. So do we want to go to the cage now?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, let's go.
So welcome, everybody, your weekly Truplex the Cage with Charles. Full reminder, wrestling is definitely not fake. Not anymore.
Oh, boy.
It is a scripted, it's a stage fight. It is a song and dance. It's about men and women beating the holy hell out of each other, chasing championships, establishing legacies, creating legacies, holy hell. And it is a physically demanding activity. I won't call it a sport. I won't call it sport entertainment because a lot of people beat my ass who are fans or non-fans of WWE and fans of everything else, but it is a physical activity. Everybody and their mother and their mother's ancestors are getting injured in both of the big companies. Holy crap, guys. Like, let's go with AEW. CM Punk had to relinquish his championship. He had just won the AEW championship in Double or Nothing at that pay-per-view against Hangman Page. He's got to go get surgery. Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson is injured. Kenny Omega's still injured. I miss you, Kenny Omega. Follow us on Twitter. Charles the True, FJOJR, Dan Frijoles, Sports Goofs, all the fun, good stuff. These are some big name people. Your champion had to vacate it, right? Well, they're not vacating it.
Yeah.
Which is annoying and confusing at the same time.
Why is it annoying?
Because they're creating an interim championship. So instead of vacating
they don't suspend it. They don't just suspend it and just
well, okay, if you vacate it, brand new champion, and you can build a natural story of I never lost a title. You guys had to go and fight me. They did. Yeah. They just created an interim title. They did the same thing when Cody cut the Rona, and they gave Sammy like the interim TNT championship, and they faced off in a match that was good. That was the ladder match, if I remember correctly. But I don't think you should be doing that because this is your biggest title in your company, the end all be all. I don't like interim championships in my boxing or MMA either because it creates doubt, clarity. Sometimes you run the hot hand. Punk can come back and challenge it. We don't know how long it's going to be, but it's got to be presumably at least 3 months worth. That's my guess, because I think you can go not defending a title for a month. That's my pause. If you have your person keep coming back and everything like that, because you got to remember, with any kind of injury, it's not just surgery. There's also what, boys? Physical rehabilitation, and then also the third component, getting back into ring shape. What's ring shape? Taking bumps and bruises, and if you tear something, pop something, hurt yourself, you're being thrown to barricades. You're falling off ladders. You're getting body slammed on like plywood that's underneath like minor soft cushioning. Your body might not be ready for that in comparison to Charles, who like has to wear an elbow sleeve every now and then because his body can't bench anymore. Two different kind of things. You create interim championships. It creates confusion. Do they even go as an acknowledgement of being a champion, or is it just an interim title? It does it lessen it?
As soon as he's back, is like, okay, well, you're not champion no more.
Because you're just going to create this whole thing of, and this is where it really trips me up a little bit, because it's already been kind of spoken and stipulated about that. Oh, when he comes back, you're going to have the current champion versus the interim champion to qualify the disputed champion. But if he's still your champion and you're not vacating it, then why are we even facing it? It's different. Like wrestling storylines, I'll give you an example where this makes sense. If CM Punk wrestled in a non-title defense against John Silver, I like John Silver. We'll give him a shout out. His birthday was the other day. John Silver follows on Twitter. He's on the Dark Order. He's Johnny Hungy. And let's say John Silver pins CM Punk, submits CM Punk. That would earn John Silver a championship match, would it not? That's really the logic that you go to. So what's the whole point of being like, we're not going to strip you the title? It's not, strip is such a harsh word. This is vacated due to injury. It's a euphemism, but it's the proper kind of euphemism. So we're going to vacate it because of injury, and you can come back and challenge it if you need to, create a story out of it. But if you're not going to vacate it due to injury, and we're talking about 2 or 3 months, and here's another thing to understand about injuries. Sometimes you're not ready within the time frame, correct? Setbacks, sepsis occurs, all these fun things. So what's the whole point of the interim challenger and interim champion if you're just going to say, you're still not acknowledged, so but you get an automatic title shot against me? I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like it in my combat sports. I don't like it here. I think it kind of muddies the waters a little bit. So what they're going to do, though, I mean, I don't own the company. I don't write the stories. It's on them, sure, whatever. What they're going to do for AEW is that on Wednesday, which I have to watch it, right? They're going to do a battle royal to start the show. And then whoever goes and wins that battle royal will face Jon Moxley later that night to get one spot, because there's a pay-per-view Forbidden Door, which I'm so sick of that name. And then now you named a pay-per-view out of it. Are you mocking me, Tony Khan? I feel like you are. Where whoever wins from Dynamite is going to challenge either Hiroshi Tanahashi or Hiroki Goto, two New Japan wrestlers. Maybe I'll do like segments, like, since we're doing Forbidden Door, maybe I'll do like to learn a wrestler kind of thing. Hiroshi Tanahashi is the ace. He's basically the John Cena of New Japan.
I have up here on the screen the actual, like, I guess, press release of this AEW. It's officially called the AEW Interim World Championship Eliminator Series.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I know. So whoever wins New Japan side will go against the AEW side at Forbidden Door to crown your interim champion, and then they'll go against CM Punk. It's convoluted. It's complicated. Wrestling, I think, is at its best when the storyline leading to the ring is simple and let the acting really come out into the ring. I hate it. Lo and behold. But what do I get? What I want? The only time I ever feel like things are going my way is when I have a bag full of little bites in my mouth, and I might get that later after I eat my Cuban sandwich. But continue with the injury arc, and I can make the cage short for it now because these are the fun parts. I can entertain it. Wrestling happened over the weekend. Hell in a Cell happened over the weekend. I believe Roman Reigns is injured. No one wants to confirm that, but he didn't defend at all. But something happened before the pay-per-view, and this is sometimes the difficulty of shows, right, happening before a pay-per-view. So Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, who used to be WWE, son of Dusty Rhodes, went over to AEW as their VP. I give him multiple shout-outs. I support him for sticking to the man. He sold out for the money, and I support him even more because you get paid, fella. You get paid. He had a match with Seth Rollins. This was supposed to be the end feud. Happy birthday, Mick Foley. I think I learned to like him in life later. I think out of all the Mick Foley iterations, I liked him most as Cactus Jack because that's when he went intense. Watch his stuff from WCW, watch his stuff from New Japan. Him and Vader.
I just remember the Mankind days.
Yeah, Mankind's fine, but then it came to the comedy of like Rock and Sock Connection, and
I just have the video game connection, so.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I think Dude Love's my least favorite. The Mick Foley controversy goes as this. Mick Foley got multiple runs with the WWE champion or WWF championship at that time, and I don't know if he was a guy who should ever held the main title, but then I realized, isn't that what you want to do, is spread the wealth around instead of everybody being a Hulk Hogan and a Steve Austin and a Rock and holding title forever? But you change in life, you develop, and I learned to appreciate Mick Foley a lot more when I watched his death matches, because you're like, holy shit, this guy's going to die for me. But anywho, speaking of another guy who's going to die for you, Cody Rhodes got hurt. Like legitimately hurt in the weight rooms. He tore his pectoral. Complete tear. And for the kids out there who don't know anatomy, and there's a lot of men who don't know anatomy, Deshaun Watson, fine, F it, I don't care. What's he going to do? You cry at me, sue me. Yeah, that's graphic, right? A tear of your pec doesn't just go into like your pec. It goes all the way down your arm. And it was announced that he was going to wrestle. I'm thinking it's going to be a squasher. I'm thinking he was going to have a stand-in, somebody returning and stuff like that. No, he came out in a steel cage match in Hell in a Cell. That thing where anything goes, but now it kind of changes.
How painful is that?
Oh yeah, I have hurt myself working out where I've like strained severely without ripping or pulling anything. My shoulder leading down to my bicep from benching wrong, and it took me about 18 months or 2 years to even go back to feeling comfortable just bench pressing. whatsoever. So this man did a complete rip and a complete just tear off. So he went and he had a 20-minute match, and it was what he needed. Because he's going to come back. He's going to be the ultimate babyface. He might be back in time for the Royal Rumble. Let him win the Rumble. Let him get Mania. Let him go against Seth. We'll talk about the Hell in a Cell. But obviously there must have been some level of doctor clearance to allow him to go, I would feel. But that ish hurts. And it's you don't play football with a torn pec. You don't play basketball with a torn pec. You definitely don't play baseball with a torn pec. I don't know about soccer. You just move your arms around unless you're a goalie, whatever. Maybe you can. I'll give it a pass. Football. Hockey, you don't play with a torn pec. Maybe, I don't know, them Russians and Slovenians. They can high quality. They could beat some ass, right? But wrestling, you're talking about maneuvers. There's not one part of your body that's sedentary. He did the pedigree and stuff like that. Major respect. Major respect. And I think that's just the legacy cementer. And it's a pun intended because he was part of the legacy faction with Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr. So for anybody who's listening, you're welcome, wrestling nerds. But you gained my respect because I wasn't feeling Cody. I wasn't feeling Cody when he came back. I liked his match at Mania. I thought it was better. His first match was better than the second one, but it's kind of hard to grade these kind of matches because it's there. But if anybody deserves the biggest round of applause, it's Seth Rollins, because imagine having to be the other guy to be the safe worker and not aggravate anything worse. And Seth did it like a professional. So Cody's gonna be out for a bit, but that is gruesome. Like, before I go into Hell in a Cell review, what is your thoughts, the both of you, on what you just saw on Cody's chest? Because you know what the problem is though? That's a whole bruising, and that neck tattoo is still more offensive than the bruising on there.
It looks like, was it like that red krill or something that goes in the ocean and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And it just completely like messes up the entire coast. Like, that's what that reminds me of. Just like, I don't know, man. It looks like
Would
a tattoo
you perform?
job of some sort. Hell no. I don't even know how I could lift my arm after that.
And here's the thing too, you're still getting paid regardless.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the new guy, but he's starting up again.
He's the prodigal son.
Yeah, but he's starting up again with
that.
them. But like, I don't know. I have no idea. Trying to show
Andrew.
Yes.
Do you? What do you think about this gruesome ass bruise?
Oh, it is gruesome.
But not worse than a neck tattoo, right? No.
I mean, I thought he was an idiot for going out there, but from what I've been reading, apparently he couldn't have injured it any worse, and stuff. I don't quite remember what I read, but kind of the general gist was the doctors basically said, look, you can't injure it any further. I still think he's an idiot, but given how cutthroat the WWE is, and how bloodthirsty Vince McMahon can be, literally and figuratively.
You know what? You had a good point that I'm going to tack on. I just have to not forget that.
I can see why he did it. But anyway, what was your point?
So I do feel that sometimes if Vince is trying to give you a push as a wrestler and you get injured too often, you will never get a push again. Because time is relative in Vince McMahon's world, and he can keep trying to make you consistent and say it's your time, like John Cena, your time is now, until the crowd can finally get over and stuff like that. Damn, that's 2 wrestling puns, wrestling goofs, over here. Or you can have like one bad match or get injured often and just disappear. And I always think about the Revival, who are FTR now in AEW. They're a high class in NXT, and then they came up and they got injured. And they kind of disappeared in between. Won a couple of titles, disappeared. Or AOP, the Authors of Pain, same tag team. One of the guys gets hurt, happens too often, you just go. It's a dangerous game. And even though Cody is, God's favorite child in the eyes of Vince McMahon now, time is relevant. And Vince's patience is short. And he always cares about that almighty dollar. So holla. And let's holler to Hell in a Cell in a brief review. I gave you the predictions last week. I wasn't going to watch it. I'm like, it's Sunday. I was celebrating my 5-year anniversary working. So I was like, oh, let's take away from, being a professional into being a man child that I am. So I decided to watch a little bit. I didn't play Amazon Delivery Man deals with Spectre Ghosts. I need more time to play. I swear, like I like Death Stranding 6 hours in. I don't know how you feel about it, Francisco.
Yeah,
but
I'm starting to get into it. I find it relaxing walking around. Somehow.
Oh, sure. And then boom, BTs. You're like, oh no.
Well, yeah.
Kind of like I can feel like my butthole go up higher.
I labeled this Death Stranding, and we finally actually are talking about it a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's our title, so we had to make a reference, so no one kind of like, was wondering what the hell. But anyway, decided to watch it, and it overperformed as a pay-per-view. I didn't even watch WrestleMania Backlash that much. I watched like 2 matches, but I watched everything from start to finish here. So match of the night was probably the women's triple threat. Like both Bianca and Becky have been just doing next level work. I think they had the best Mania match. I think they're my best WWE match of the year so far from their Mania match, but this was very good too. Ended shortly. Bianca won. They're going to continue the Becky feud. They might continue the Asuka feud too, which makes me think they're going to go to a ladder match. The next pay-per-view is going to be Money in the Bank. We'll see what happens there. Too early to talk about it. Bobby Lashley versus almost an MVP. Cedric Alexander interfered. It was a match. I like Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel. Remember the funny storyline is Ezekiel is really Elias, but he's been saying he's Ezekiel now, Elias's brother, and Kevin Owens is going crazy. Owens won clean, but they're going to continue that feud. Judgment Day, consisting of Edge, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, defeated AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Liv Morgan. Ooh, very important of what happened, Andrew, because Edge was the leader of his faction on a Sunday. And on a Monday, he was getting his ass beat by his team members. So I guess there's a swerve. Edge is no longer part of Judgment Day. Finn Balor's now taken over as a leader. They did a concerto on Edge. So Edge went from being a bad guy 2 months ago to now getting screwed over by his own team and faction. I don't know why. Maybe it's a desperation ploy by Vince since Cody got hurt. I think they could have marinated a lot better, but I'm all for heel Finn Balor, and I'm all for heel Finn Balor versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam. I'm kind of like getting that little tingle like I had with Bobby Brock, feeling into it because there's so much history. It all just depends. Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin. That was an interesting match that went down, in a no-hold-barred match that was kind of like Moss's coming out party, and it was very good. It was just brutal, like 12 minutes of them trying to beat the holy hell out of each other and kill each other. Theory versus Mustafa Ali, probably the weakest match, one of the weaker matches of the night. And then you had Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins. Cody won the match. We already talked about it, but they were able to perform. Shout out to Seth because he came out in Dusty Rhodes attire. So Dusty, when he was in the WWE, was wearing polka dots. So that was kind of his thing. Now Seth came out in there, and he's played that head game before, like when he was going against Dominic Mysterio at SummerSlam 2 years ago. He came out in Rey Mysterio's Halloween Havoc 1997 match. Great match. You guys should watch. It was him versus, was it Chris Jericho or was it Eddie Guerrero? I think it was Eddie Guerrero. Or Dean Malenko. Almost certain it was Dean Malenko. It's going to bother me. I have to check it real quick. I'm sorry, everybody. I need to know this because it is literally a fantastic match. Rey Mysterio. What do we have?
This is... We'll
Andrew verse with Charles verse. It was Eddie Guerrero. Whew.
Oh my
all right,
God.
We're not going old.
Damn,
we're not going old.
Amazing.
we're not getting too old. I remember I name dropped that match too at a couple months ago, or on our show, but a different episode, and we're like, some matches like. Wrestlers who've been around for a long time, you can always name that match like, you need to watch this, you need to see this, it's pretty great. So him and Cody behind game. Seth Rollins has gotten so good at his facial reactions and everything. Like he was looking at Cody being injured like a wolf about to attack his prey. Match was adequate. It's hard to grade it, but it was the most emotional match to watch, and you were invested, and the crowd was into it, and damn, was good. Cody ends up winning. He hits a pedigree, which is Triple H's move, does a couple of crossroads. They got to a moment where they use a bell cow whip, and it was emotional, and Cody won. And like, damn, man, that pay-per-view overformed, and it may make me want to watch non-important pay-per-views for a while. But granted, we're getting to that season now because we're going to have Money in the Bank soon, and then we'll have SummerSlam, and then we'll get it going. Survivor Series, I'll probably call off of it. But overall, pleasantly surprised. Oh, NXT had a pay-per-view this weekend. I watched majority of it. It was good too for Takeover in Your House. Maybe I'll do a little mini review on it. But highlight match of that night, I would say, was probably Creed Brothers versus Pretty Deadly, who I think Pretty Deadly is kind of winning me over as being, they remind me of like 1980s heel characters, but their whole thing about going, yes, boy, cracks me up. It just cracks me up, man, because I can see myself saying yes, boy, because I say, ooh, child, every now and then when something crazy happens. I feel like people know too much about me now. This is embarrassing. So that's all I got for you this week on the cage. Good job, Cody. Get well soon. Probably gonna be out for 6 months, but if they do this right, let Seth be champion by time next Mania comes around. One of the championships, if they ever like split up, have him have Cody win the Royal Rumble, and then you get number 4 where Cody wins the big one against Seth, because you might as well do it, right? That's just me.
All right, so we'll let Splitgate close us out here. Get a few more cents here while we're at it. And yeah, that's our show, everybody. So we will see you guys next week. We'll probably have the Stanley Cup final, and we'll actually might talk about some NBA because it might be over too by that point. So, all right, that's it. Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Take care.